Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am doing another live stream. Let's see. I don't know if you're gonna like how well you're gonna be able to see in this video. But let's hope for the best. Oh, let me turn off my camera. I'm just running. So anyways, I'm gonna start by just taking a minute to finish my hot chocolate coffee mixture. I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed today, so I was vlogging and trying to get this music video project done that is pretty much overdue at this point because it is supposed to be out on Monday. And it has to be out on Monday. Like there's a specific reason why it has to be out on Monday. So I do have to crank that out. So I am drinking coffee right now. And I just put it in this glass just for fun, but also that's a horrible idea because this is boiling water and it's very hot and it's very big and I'm very scared, but that's okay. So also had Pop-Tarts because why not? I figured I could like dip them in it. But we are going to get right into it, and we are going to sew together this little romper today. But first, I do want to go over with you a couple things that I found after I finished my last live stream. So, during the last live stream, I found that the pattern for the back was a lot longer than the front. And the reason I had to make a change was because the side seams didn't match up. Like this straight part, the side seam on the back just went straight down way past. And these two parts right here where it's straight, they have to meet in the same place because if one is longer than the other, it's not gonna look right at all. These 2 points have to meet, and then if the rest of it is longer, that's fine. And as it is now, like this is the front and then this is the back. It does have a little extension on it, which is what I want to talk about because I did cut it shorter and totally recut the side seam because like I said, this part was like straight to like here and then we curved it out and made it into the proper back. And this is just probably also kind of has to do with body type, but this was never going to fit me with the way it was like shortened. So I was right with the length. It was just that I didn't curve out the side part and it was a straight down, but the length was actually right because when I put it on, it would be like choking me trying to like connect it as it was before. So yeah, it was right. It was just, what I was thinking is that it was right and it was wrong, basically. But what I would think that happened when I was making the pattern is that I did know about the length and I was doing the length proper, even though yesterday I thought that I messed it up. But what I didn't do right was that I was trying to give the butt coverage, and I did that in a completely wrong way by like just keeping this line continuing, thinking that's going to cover the butt, but then like the side seam is going too long, so it doesn't make sense. So anyways, this is how it ended up being when I added. So I pretty much just did my pattern. Let me get the pattern and show you, just because I did make this adjustment after. I did take out the seam allowance right here, like where this seam was connected. You can kind of see where it used to be folded. And that gave us a little bit more room. And then also at the bottom, the seam has been taken out. That was basically because we had already taken it out during the live stream. Honestly, I probably could have left it because we're finishing this off with little, I forget what they're called. I want to say eyelet closures, but I could be wrong. But like where you push the two sides together, like little circular closures. So we do want to finish this end off. So what I did yesterday, though, after the live stream, was I went back to this And this part that we originally cut off, I actually added it back on. And this is with the new curved part. But also you can see I redrew it down here where it's more narrow so that it meets the front, because it should be this narrow in the middle or at the bottom, because it needs to be the same width as the front part. So these are things that I didn't notice when I was doing the flat pattern, because I didn't do all my triple checking like you really need to do. So that's what happens when you do patterns at 3 a.m. in the morning, like an insomniac. You make a lot of mistakes. Okay, so now I gotta get the cover off without slamming this down. Okay. And now, definitely when I start sewing, I should move this drink, because if you happen to know me, you know I probably spill everything. So this is super duper dangerous right now. So I actually did like a really weird mixture with this. Not weird, but something I typically wouldn't like. And I'm so impressed. I absolutely love it. So I'm generally not a fan of mocha. I absolutely love hot chocolate and I absolutely love black coffee, but I don't like them mixed together. But I did a pack of hot chocolate and then I put the boiling water in, and then I was like, but I want to like get energy and stay up and edit for a little bit after I do, for a long time after I do this live stream. So I decided to add coffee to it, like instant coffee though, not regular coffee, which I feel like is probably why it's so good, because it's also powder. Like the cocoa powder is powder and then the instant coffee is powder. So it goes together really well. But also what really like tops it off is I swirled honey on top and cinnamon, and I am loving it. I feel like the cinnamon is really, 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 really making it right now. I am absolutely in love with it. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Okay. So now when I'm sewing this, oh, isn't this amazing? I have this color thread. I mean, is that not close enough or what? I'm definitely going to use that. That is perfect. So I'm going to use my woolly nylon because it's my go-to. I absolutely love it. Anytime I can use woolly nylon, I'm using it because I just love it. It always comes out right for a knit. Like I never have problems when I sew knits with woolly nylon. So we need to find a bobbin that either is started with the woolly nylon. Yeah, it is over there. I hate getting up off my chair. I feel like I'm being so loud. All right, let's see. I actually might not have a bobbin started with the woolly nylon. I think I emptied it. So we're going to have to re-thread it. Well, this is really becoming quite an eventful live stream. All right. So I'm going to change the top thread to this color, and then you always put your woolly nylon in the bottom on the bobbin. And remember, if you ever sew with woolly nylon, which I highly recommend it anytime you're sewing a knit, if you are going to use it, just hand spin your bobbin. I feel so weird right now. Like I was dead 5 minutes before this stream, and I feel like I have a lot of false energy right now. So you're just going to keep winding it. So I'm also, while I'm sitting here, I am thinking, do I want to have a zigzag stitch, or do I want to do French seams? And just for speed, and because this is something that we've kind of made some adjustments to the pattern and we're not 100% sure if we love it, I may do just a zigzag stitch rather than a French seam, just because then it's easier to take out and make adjustments, and plus just like plenty of other saying that I don't have a stable connection. Okay, I really hope we don't lose the connection. That will stink. So anyways, what I was saying was, that I think I'm going to do the zigzag stitch, even though I normally would prefer a French seam, because I know with the knit fabric, a zigzag stitch will hold up. But on top of that, I want to make sure that this is a really good pattern, because moving forward, I would love to make more jumpsuits because I really love them and I find them really comfortable. So I think I just want to whip out and like completely finish this garment. So I think I'm just going to do a zigzag stitch to save time today. I'm taking a while to like really fully spin out this bobbin because I don't want to have to spin it halfway through the process. So it's better to just get it all done in one go. So it might take a minute, but it's better to just get it done now. And my thread fell on the floor, but we should be able to keep going. All right, I'm gonna close it out. Oh, my scissors are so far away, so I'm actually just going to cut it with the machine. All right. All right, so now I'm going to thread the machine. And we're going to take off this thread. I'm going to put on the teal thread. I feel like something is wrong right now. Okay, I have never had so much trouble threading machine. It just feels weird for whatever reason. All right, it's not weird. It's just feeling weird because the thread is so much thicker than the thread I'm used to having on my machine. Oh, like the spool, but it's totally fine. So. Alrighty. Oh my gosh, this is annoying. Oh, I know where it is. I don't have the cord to my sewing machine right now. Okay. I'm not usually so disorganized, but you know, everything in my room is like in a different place. All right. So now let's get sewing. We just need to kind of thread this machine. Why would it be kind of? We definitely need to thread it. All right, so machine threaded. Terrifying picture of hot liquid out of the way. First things first, why don't we just start with something easy? Let's do the sleeves, and we are going to do the sleeves with the same stitch that we're going to do with the rest of the garment, which is going to be a zigzag stitch. I'm going to do this kind of slowly so that I keep the same width all the way through on the seam. And I do want the sleeve to be a cap sleeve, so I do want to, I want the sleeve to be short, basically. I almost did it the wrong way. I almost did the shoulder and not the hem. All right, we caught it. That's all that matters. Okay, so we are going to use stitch number 10 on my machine, which is a classic. No, we're not. I want to do 12. I really like doing 12 because it's a zigzag, but it also has the straight line before the zigzag, which means that like the threads aren't going to pull and stuff, and I just prefer that. So it's one I choose the most when I actually am going to do a zigzag. I'm going to double check the length. So it's currently at 5. This one's more visual, so I'm going to do, I'm going to do 5.5, and it's at the highest distance, which is 2.5. Highest distance, let's do 2. All right. So they're longer, like ups, but then smaller, like closer together stitches. I'm really bad at describing things. Keep in mind, this is a visible seam that I'm sewing right now on the cap sleeve. So you are going to see this zigzag, and it is going to have dual colored thread. So since the interior is on top, like the inside of the sleeve is on top, that teal thread is on the top, but the black seam is going to be on the outside. So let's see how this is going to look. I really like it. It looks good. It looks really good. It looks really good. All right, so let's see. If you're going to move your fabric at all, make sure your needle is down so you don't lose your place. Perfect. Okay, so, all right, hopefully we can pull that out. The extra of the thread is inside of the stitch, and it's a visible stitch, so we just want to pull that out. And it looks pretty good. It's a little knot on the end that we're going to want to pull out. So we don't want, you know, any big chunky knot bits. Sometimes if you grab a pin, you can stick it in there and get rid of that. I'm going to grab my super tiny scissors and let me show you how this looks. Okay. Okay, so now this has to be ironed to kind of make it look straighter all the way across and whatnot, but it's an interesting stitch because we do have the teal and then we have the black. I don't know how well you can see it. It's hard for me to tell because the image on my screen looks horrible, but you pretty much see the teal at the tips and at the bottom, but then it's black kind of triangle shape in the middle. So I kind of like it. We're going to do that on the other sleeve. And then we are going to start sewing the rest of it together. So there's our other sleeve right here. And just making sure that we do the same side. And I would definitely recommend, if you don't sew often, pin like these seams, even though you're just folding over and sewing the hem, definitely pin it. I even normally do that, but this is just kind of something I'm doing on a whim for fun, so I'm not really concerned about it, and therefore I'm not pinning it. But if you don't sew often, even if you're doing something on a whim, I would still pin it because it slips a lot. Even on me, it slips a little bit, so. And the reason I just take my time and stop every once in a while is because I just don't want it to slip and become a mess. All right, and so this one is perfect. Nothing really to be concerned about. If we would have wanted to be all one color, like the top side is all teal, so we could have done it the other way, but it would be a little bit harder to like make sure that the stitch is what is the word? To make sure that like the rolled fabric is like in the perfect place when it's the other way. But it actually looks fine like that. Like you could actually use that as the outside. Good to know. So anyways, now we are going to go to this part of the garment, and we are actually just going to lay these two pieces on top of each other. I'm going to pin in the other direction. I currently have the pins going along the seam, and I want them, if I'm going to be sewing over them, I want them to be going in the other direction so that I can kind of like pass over them as I'm sewing and not have to move anything. So that's what we're doing. We're just flipping it. Perfect. So now I'm going to sew down this. And I think I'm going to sew down one side, flip it, and sew it down the other side just to make sure it's on there really solid. Because this part will get pulled a lot. And my thread came out. Okay. So we want to smooth out this. So I am trimming so that the corners weren't meeting perfectly. So we're just trimming off the excess corners, also the excess threads. We are going to turn all of the fabric over like on the sides and stuff so that everything is clean. So now which side is a good side? It doesn't matter. Okay, so now there's 2 stitches here because I sewed it on one side and then I flipped over, sewed the other side. This is so that like there's no seam at all, like hanging off, like everything is enclosed inside the zigzags. Also doing the zigzag stitches and enclosing it with the 2 zigzag stitches rather than a French seam is actually going to work out really well for us, because this means that there's no like bulk inside the bodysuit. Like every stitch is like completely flat. There's really nothing to it. It's like it just becomes the fabric. So I actually really love that. Now let's see. What we want to do next is we can sew the side seams. Then we are going to sew, we're probably going to want to sew this over next. And this one we're going to leave as it is. Actually, yeah, it's still fully on there nicely. So we're going to leave that one as it is. We're just going to sew this one. So actually, let's just go ahead and sew it. This is a really small seam. Then I'm going to sew the side seams. And then we have to sew the leg holes so that there is no raw edges on the leg holes. Okay, so we've got that. Very nice. And now we're going to do the side seams. So I might pin it when I do the side seams because I really don't want my fabric to slip and not sew properly. So let's go ahead and add some pins so that we know where we need to start and where we need to finish. And this project is nearly coming to an end. Once we get these side seams, the bulk of the garment is going to be together. And the only things we are going to have left is to finish off the leg seams and to add the sleeves. I'm going to need more pins. And we've only been on for 34 minutes, so I feel like we will most definitely within an hour be able to get this knocked out, which is great. I really like when I'm sewing multiple seams in a row. I would prefer to pin all of the seams and then sew all of the seams. I like to kind of do it as a bulk process rather than pin a seam, sew a seam, pin a seam. It feels like it takes so much longer that way. So I'm going to go ahead and pin both seams and then sew both seams. And sometimes I will actually go through and pin as much as I can. So I'll pin both seams, I'll pin the armholes, and I'll pin up the leg holes. Like I'll pin as much as I can. But this time we're just going to do both seams, side seams. They're all seams, but we're going to do both side seams. This is an extra little chunk on the corner. We're going to get rid of that. I feel weird. I feel like this hot chocolate drink made me feel really, really weird. It like gave me an instant energy boost, and then like now I'm getting an instant energy crash. So that's not good at all. And I'm doing the same stitch on all of the seams in the entire garment, in case you're wondering. Same seam allowance too. Okay, now let's do this. All right, so let's start off. We want this to, we don't really want it to go off the edge. So we want it to just barely be on the fabric. And this might go off the edge actually. Oh, now it's good, okay. You gotta be careful at the very top corner. It's probably one of those things where you want to start a 1/4 of an inch lower and then go back to the top at the end. I didn't do that, so it kind of like starts to knot up at the end because the machine can't push it through. So I would recommend starting a little further down. I felt like I was starting to slip, so I went backwards. I'm just trimming some of the threads. A little bit of extra seam allowance in some areas where we can. And I actually feel like I might at the end go through and sew down the side seam. If I like it, I should wait till the end and after I try it on, but I think I really like how all of these seams are really flat, and I feel like I want to do that for the rest of the garment. So we'll probably do that. And then let's see. We gotta do the other side seam. All right. This is like making me feel so tired, so let's just drink some more and see if it's gonna have reverse effects. All right, I feel like that would be so good now that it's like getting cooler if I threw ice in it. All right, let's start a little bit down so it doesn't knot up like I said. All of a sudden it feels like I'm going a lot slower than I want to be going. And I feel like I just want to like drag it. Oh no. I suddenly pulled it out, not on purpose. So I'm just gonna take it out and go back. This part can get really frustrating. I think it's because these are longer stitches than I was doing before, but I'm starting to like realize how slow my machine is going, and I really just want to rip through the seam, like go fast, and I can't because my machine won't let me. So once again, I'm just going to go through and see if there's any little excess seam allowance that I can trim. There definitely is. But I want to be careful not to go all the way to the points because you can go to the points without clipping the stitch, but I just hate taking that risk because if you do clip a stitch, then you have to go back and fix it. So let's not do that. Okay, why is there thread right there? Let's trim all these threads. Trim this thread. We're gonna have to go back over the top again because I never finished. I didn't start from the very top. And now we're gonna have to go to the sleeves next once I do this top bit. Okay. I'm shocked that I'm actually getting this done tonight. An hour ago, I definitely did not think I'd be able to do this much. I was feeling so tired. All right, let's see. I'm still like, oh, do we really want to do the sleeves? Yes, do the sleeves. All right, let's see. Make sure. It's weird when you're coming from the other direction to like know if you're doing it correctly. With the zigzag, I mean. All right, cool. All right. So that's cool. So this is the inside of the garment. We have the stitches done. We actually have the majority done. We just have the sleeves left. Let's do these sleeves real quick. The sleeves and then sewing the hem or like the leg holes. Okay, so we're gonna put right sides together. So like the good sides together. So for me, I need to make sure that black zigzag on the sleeve cap is actually touching the side of the shirt that has the graphic on it. Those are the right sides. And I started from the middle point of the cap. Just double check that you're right, because like honestly, I just kind of eyeballed the middle, which somehow I did perfectly. And then you're just gonna pin it all the way around. So actually I have to enclose the sleeve before I can like sew this around the sleeve hole, but it's good to make sure that you're gonna like the fabric is gonna be all good before you sew this like the two ends together. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just double checking that I'm right about my seam allowance before I sew them together. Yes, so we are gonna sew the exact same seam allowance we've been doing on the whole thing. Before I pin this entire thing together, I'm gonna grab these two ends of the sleeve and then I'm going to sew these two together. And actually, I might do it a little differently. Like less bulk, just do it like that. No. 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 Do it like this, and then I'll fold it over again. Okay. We really need 3 pins in this little tiny piece. So I'm actually starting a little bit past the end because of what happened last time. Cool. Yeah, it just works so much nicer and it's so much cleaner if you start down a little bit and then you go back at the end and sew the very top. So much better. Perfect. Oh. All right, so now I'm going to trim off the excess seam allowance. There's just a tiny bit, like maybe 1/8 of an inch on this. And then I want to test out this sleeve completely before we do the other sleeve. I'm going to lay this seam flat, and this is what I'm thinking about doing for the side seams as well. I want to lay it flat and sew down this side seam. I just don't know if I should do it from the inside. I should do it this way because if I sew it with from the inside, then it's going to look the same as the cuffs, which is good because you want your seams to be similar. Except I did not remember to start from about 1/2 inch down, so we did get that catching at the beginning, so we might have to take out that beginning. Okay, so that is so nice. Okay, so what I was saying was I forgot again about, not again, I only did it like that the first time, and then the other times I didn't forget. But I started sewing that seam right at the edge right here. And what I was saying before is you should start sewing them right here, and then at the end go back and go in the other direction towards this hemline, because it's going to be too bulky and it's going to kind of knot up. So my zigzag isn't like really clean right here at the end. It's kind of like all kind of mushed together. It doesn't look knotted or anything. It's just not very like distinct that it's a zigzag. So in the future, try your best. But this seam looks gorgeous. Like I really like it, and it's completely flat. So now we are going to do that on the sleeve. Okay, so we're almost at an hour, so I might end it after I sew this sleeve. It's because I am feeling a little tired. And I kind of feel like it would be nice if I take the time in one more video and I show how to put on the closures at the bottom of the bodysuit, so that you can actually get in and out of it, because this doesn't have a low cut neckline. So the only way you're going to get in and out of it is from the bottom of the bodysuit. And then also I want to nicely sew off the hems of the legs so that there's no raw edges on this bodysuit. And then I want to try it on. So I think I'm going to wait and try it on in the next video when I do the closures and when I do the hem, which will possibly be tomorrow, possibly, most likely. Okay, super excited about this. Okay, so actually when you're sewing a sleeve, I don't know why I'm holding it like that. Push the sleeve inside so you have like a little hole. And then you can, if you want, a lot of the times, most people do, you can slide off and if you have a domestic machine, you can slide off that front part, and now you have a really small arm to like work with, and you can actually slide your sleeve right through there, and it's going to be so much easier to sew this way. Just line it up, and you can start literally anywhere on this. Ow, I just crushed my finger. Slow reaction times. All right. The fabric is kind of turning on itself, like, and it's turning inwards towards the foot. So I'm just taking it slow because of that. So now I'm going to do the same thing that I've done so much. I'm just going to go through and I'm going to trim the seam allowance all the way around. I think I might turn these seams down as well, just like I just did the other part of the sleeve. But I think I want to try it on first before I make that call. To make sure I'm not locking in seams that don't even fit. But yeah, I'm quite excited about this. I think it's so far looking pretty nice. I really like the color of the thread and how it's adding another element to the garment. So something I've been doing this year, I haven't been buying new fabric at all. I've only been using clothing, like old clothing stuff I thrift or I have or I'm given as fabric. I haven't really been shopping for anything. If I buy, I've been trying to, as far as clothes goes, I've been trying to buy like thrifted clothes, used clothes, or take advantage of clothes that I, haven't worn before in my own closet that I've been given or whatnot. And that goes as well for some of like my the other stuff that goes along with sewing, like thread. So I've actually just been going through and using all the thread I have because I have quite an assortment. So a lot of the things I've been making lately, I don't really try to perfectly match the thread. I do the best I can, but if it is a little contrasty, I just go with it. So that's what we're kind of doing here. So this sleeve is like a bit smaller. It's not too tight in the end though, which hopefully will be cute. And it comes in more because we cut this sleeve shorter. So let's see what this is looking like. I feel like I'm going to have, that's the back side. And this is the front side. So it's a really short little thing. I like it. We do need to iron the whole project and see how it goes. And we still need to add one more sleeve and we need to hem this up at the bottom. But so far, so good. I'm super excited about how this whole thing is turning out. So we are actually going to have a part 3 on this video, sadly, because it has been an hour that I've been streaming and it's pretty late and I have a few other things I have to still do tonight. So I am going to come back hopefully tomorrow with this. And if not tomorrow, definitely very, very soon, but probably most likely tomorrow for sure. Tomorrow's only Saturday, so for sure. If not tomorrow, Sunday. Yeah. But so anyways, this is the halfway point for turning the t-shirt into a jumpsuit, and I am very happily pleased. So please thank you so much for joining me. And please come back again if you are interested in seeing the final product of this jumpsuit. Please, please, please hit that notification bell, because if you don't hit the notification bell, you won't know when I'm going live. I know it's kind of annoying to hit the notification bell for all the YouTubers you subscribe to. The only reason I'm saying to please hit the notification bell is it's the only way that you will know if I'm going live. So if that's what you're interested in, hit it. Also, please give this video a like. If you could, I'd really appreciate it. And subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Oh, and check my links in my description. I always recommend Mora Mitchell. She's posting for 60 days. And so am I. She started one day before me. I think we have about 7 days left. I think she might only have 6 days left of the 60 days that we were trying to post in a row. And so far, I have not missed a day. I may have been late. I may have been late many times, but I have posted at least 60 videos. Or what is it? I don't know. I can't do math. But I will have posted 60 videos in by the end of the week. So thank you so much. Check her out, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye. I totally thought this was a regular video and did this thing. It's alive. That doesn't work. Bye, guys.